I'm Marcus Reed, 35, and I've spent most of my adult life like this. People often claim, I'm hard to read. That's what they say when you speak cautiously. Don't show off your ambition, and pay more attention than you talk. In my case, I did it on purpose. I discovered early on that silence, when wielded well, is a weapon, not a weakness. Despite everything I built, I never fully anticipated the words I heard that night. 2 evenings before her father's retirement. Celebration. My wife, Vivian, spoke without lifting her head from her compact. I leaned in the doorway as she reapplied her lipstick and said, "Please don't embarrass us." She said it like she was getting ready for a movie, not a family gathering. Wearing a half-buttoned dress shirt that wasn't hers. And I wasn't sure what shocked me more, that she said it, or how casually she did. She didn't even stop to think about whether it landed. "I humiliate you?" I asked, using both my voice and my hands. Vivian snapped the compact shut. Even in the cold room, I felt that old, familiar knot tighten in my chest. "You're a decent man, Marcus." Her eyes never met mine, but her tone softened. "You are. But you don't belong there. Not in that world. Not tonight." The world she was referring to? Boston's elite cocktail circuit, CEOs, politicians, surgeons, venture capitalists, inheritance jewelry and power lunch smiles. I had spent 7 years watching it from the edge, married into it, but never in it. I tolerated it, but I never really belonged. I wasn't planning to do a tap dance on the tables, I muttered. Vivian walked to the dresser, opened a drawer, and handed me a tie. A boring, plain gray tie. So unmemorable it might have been designed to match wallpaper. I took it from her, looked at it, and knew this was safe. She murmured, "This. Safe." Meaning, quiet. Forgettable. Exactly how her family wanted me to be. I wondered if her mother, Eloise, ever noticed how her daughter didn't even try to hide the disdain. Eloise made it clear from the start she didn't want her daughter with a man like me, a working-class kid from the South Shore. Even Vivian's sister, Danielle, with her sharper cheekbones and sharper tongue, once laughed over champagne and said, "It's adorable that you still treat Marcus like a real employee." I never responded. I rarely did. But my colleagues laughed, like it was the joke of the year. That's what I was in their orbit. Something to grin at, pour wine for, nod along with. But as I held that gray tie, something stirred. It didn't shatter me. It didn't even bend me. It just felt like a door opening, quietly, after years of being sealed shut. Vivian left the room, humming. I stayed behind, still holding the tie. Unbuttoned shirt, blank face. Unknown to her, and unknown to them, because what they didn't know was this. I had been deeply involved in her father's company, Langston Medical Group, for over 3 years. Harold Langston, visionary titan of healthcare, was losing control. His acquisitions were failing, investor confidence vanishing, and Harold was too proud to ask for help. But I wasn't. I didn't come in as Marcus Reed. I came in through a series of holding companies and shell acquisitions. I took control without ever revealing my name, not out of revenge, out of vision, to protect what Harold built and steer it forward. Not even my own team knew the whole story. Now, just days before the retirement party, the final agreement was in place. The final page said, "Public recognition of the new lead partner, Marcus Reed." It was almost time. I couldn't sleep that night. Vivian lay beside me, scrolling on her phone. I stared at the ceiling. This was the woman I once chased through boutique, stores, and chef-curated restaurants. We got married on a rainy June afternoon in Central Park. Beautiful, elegant, elusive, but over time, the small distances widened. At dinner, she always called me Marcus. Never asked about my work. Once she corrected someone who called me a financier and said, well, he dabbles. But I understood. She was raised for legacy, not love. In her world, image trumped truth. Still, don't embarrass us. That one clung to me. I needed to know, was I someone she truly respected, or just a polished accessory tucked in the corner of a curated life? I slipped out of bed into the study, opened my laptop. The final acquisition files lit the screen. My name, Marcus Reed, soon to be visible. I closed the laptop, not with triumph, but with a silence louder than applause. And finally, I slept. The next morning, I woke to find the gray tie draped neatly over the window chair. A silent message, wrapped in civility. I sat on the bed, let the sunlight spill across the floor, ran my fingers over the cold wood. Vivian's heels tapped down the hall. Water ran in the bathroom. The zip of her garment bag cut the air. She didn't even ask if I was awake, or maybe she knew and didn't care to ask. Downstairs, she was mid-call, smoothie in one hand, phone in the other. Graham confirmed under 200 guests. It's black tie. Daddy wants it to feel like a modern throwback. I poured black coffee, the kind I liked, not the matcha green blend she always sipped. When she looked up, she scanned me, navy shirt, simple pants, and asked, "You're not wearing that to brunch, are you?" I blinked. Brunch? I didn't know we had brunch today. She sighed and tapped her screen. You promised. With my mother and Danielle. Of course. I always made promises I didn't remember. She got changed fast, reached for the tie again. I brought it to the mirror. That color, gray, felt prophetic, like Danielle had chosen it herself. When we arrived at the restaurant, Danielle's voice cut through first. He's here. Be nice, Mother. He's even wearing the tie. Eloise barely smiled. The color suits you, Marcus, Danielle added with a smirk. Understated, like him. I smiled, sat down. Nobody asked about me, about work. Even if I had closed a billion-dollar deal that morning, they wouldn't care. They'd still want to know if I'd remembered the dinner reservations. Vivian leaned over mid-chat to straighten my collar. A small gesture, but a loud one. I wasn't the man they wanted, but I was the one they tolerated. Polished, positioned, silenced. Halfway through her salad, Eloise looked up. Now, Marcus, remember, you don't have to speak at the event. Let Harold and Graham handle it. I hadn't planned to. I replied, of course, I'm just here to support. Danielle chuckled. Last thing we need is a TED Talk about startups and spreadsheets. Vivian laughed, not harshly, but carefully. She didn't mean to wound me. She just didn't want to choose me. The rest of brunch was decor talk and flower arrangements. I nodded when expected, smiled when prompted. I wasn't angry.